You're not on mute.
All right. Hey, welcome everybody to the Bold Trail Academy. Steve had me muted on my opening, so I'll reintroduce you and myself and say welcome to Valentine's Day. And welcome John Olson. John, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, John. Today we are going to talk about Property Boost. And we're going to go over Property Boost in a context of how you can use Property Boost to really build your business and establish yourself within your digital footprint. John, the process of doing a Property Boost is pretty straightforward.
It is.
It's pretty simple.
Yes.
But to do it effectively and use the Property Boost to build your business, that's really where you get traction. So that's our subject today.
Is it safe to say that we're trying to boost our business with a property boost?
Wow, I like that. I like that. It's very bold, John. So before we get started on that, let's go back and I want to go into the Bold Trail Academy on school. If you guys haven't joined, you can scan that QR code. I'll put the link in the discussion as well. Join the school platform. That's where I'm posting all of this content. Within that, this is the 12-week lead generation series. Weeks 1 through 5 are there. Week 6, I don't have the content posted yet because we're shooting it right here. But as we're going through this lead generation series, John, we're building week after week. Okay. And so within that, we start out with the essentials. We've talked about landing pages. We've talked about squeeze pages. Last week was social media, which we just barely touched on because we could spend 4 weeks, 5 weeks on all the aspects of it. The text coding was last week, and now we're covering Property Boost. So that's all within the school platform.
So a question I know will come up and we'll deal with this is, those watching are going to wonder what's the difference between landing pages, squeeze pages, and a property boost. So I know that you're going to get into that, but
yeah,
I'm sure that's going to be a major question.
Yeah, and so we're going to cover that today. Like I said, the easy part is showing you how to do the Property Boost, but we're really going to get in how to do it most effective. So let's get started in here. I always start from my dashboard. Dashboard is shows you what activity's been going on. You can see I got people looking and searching. I really haven't been doing that much lead generation, you guys, because my database is very active right now. A big win for me last week is I got a listing, and it was the buyer of a listing I had a couple years ago. So it wasn't my buyer client, someone else's. And they had come into an open house. I used the open house app and they registered within my KV Core. They ended up buying the house. Again, I was the listing agent. I wasn't the buyer's agent, but I had their phone number. I had their email address. I switched them over to a closed smart campaign and I've kept in touch with them. And now that client called me because they knew who I was. And now I listed that property last week. That's how effective this, yeah, it was a big win. That never would have happened prior to 3 years ago when I got into doing this by accident. So I guess the message I got from that is that had I done this 20 years ago and really focused on building relationships within my existing database rather than constantly scrambling for the next client, I probably wouldn't be here showing you guys how to use Bold Trail because I would have established myself really early on. So for those that struggle with that, invest the time to really use the platform. So like I said, I'm here in my dashboard. It's in Lead Engine. When you go into the Lead Engine, there's Core Boost that you can launch. And that's how you launch and get into it. If you really want to get the 45-second elevator pitch, it's here. And this is the basics of it. $59 to boost, and there's different options that you have. Within the Property Boost, you go down here to the property boost and it takes you to the actual page. And as you see, I haven't been boosting properties. I just haven't needed to. I did it early on. And it really helped establish myself within my sphere of influence. And John, that's really what I want to focus on here, is that sphere of influence.
So there's two things that we noticed right away. There's a cost to this,
Yes,
and there's a reason for that, which we'll get into.
yes,
And then there's also the dynamics of why a property boost is used versus squeeze pages and what it does as far as the farm that you're building. So,
Yeah. yeah. So let's talk about that. Like John just pointed out, this is the first lead gen that you're going to put your credit card in and you're going to spend money to do it. Okay, I've really focused on things that we can do that don't cost any money, but this one here, it's going to cost you money. So let's get into it. We'll take a look at
point
it.
out right away, though, that it's not a monthly fee.
It's not a monthly fee.
That's something to have in mind.
So right here in the house, again, let's go back to the dashboard just so that we're clear. I come down here to this little house symbol, and this is the IDX feed part of the platform, okay? This is the IDX feed, and as you can see, you have properties, all properties there in the MLS. What I'm focused on is I'm focused on the EXP properties in Roseville. So there's 9, 5, 6, 7, 8. And again, I've gone in and I've just saved all of these. This is all of Roseville. And so if I go in here, I'm going to choose this property. It listed on the 12th. This is 2 days. And I'm going to go in here. And I'm just going to see how many matching buyers do I have for this. It says I don't have any matching buyers, which would make sense because I don't really focus on this zip code. So let's go in and take a look at EXP 95747 because that's really what my digital form is. And so I go into this first listing and we'll take a look at it and we'll go to matching buyers and I have 15. So I just showed you guys a good example. I'm focused on 95747 for my property boost. And because of that, I'm able to go in through the platform, and the way the platform works, it registers where the client's looking, the type of property they're looking for. And now I have 15 potential matches for this. And this is the power of the property boost when you look at it in terms of focusing on your digital farm. I spoke to an agent yesterday that did a property boost in Rio Vista. Rio Vista is down in the Delta. It was an acreage property. It was listed at almost $1 million. And he did the property boost and got 2 leads. And he came to me and he's frustrated. He goes, Alex, I just spent $65 for 2 leads. I said, well, I hear your frustration, but how many people are looking in Rio Vista in the $1 million range for acreage property and so on and so forth? So this brings me to my next point about property boost. I want to look at Roseville. Let's look at Roseville. And what I've done is I've gone in and done a search of all closed SKOs in Roseville over the last 6 months. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to look at just the stats on it. Okay, so real simple search. You go into where your digital farm is. I'm choosing all of Roseville, not just 747, but I could choose 747. And let's go in and look at what is selling. John, what do we see there?
Well, as far as the data, we see the breakdowns.
Yeah.
Days on market.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're looking for what we are able to see in that regard, or.
What I'm looking at is where the median price is.
Gotcha.
And the median price is important because that is where we have the most amount of buyers, right?
So you want to build a funnel for that
So
primary market target.
So if I go in and I go back and I look at 747 and we look at where the prices are, you have this one here at 655, you have one at 1,000,004, 675. Here's a good one at 525. You know, which one am I going to boost? Which one is going to attract the most attention?
You want the widest market.
Yeah, I want the widest market. I would love to sit back and sell $1,000,000 properties, but Steve Hillier right here has a famous saying.
Rather hunt rabbits than hunt elephants.
That's right. You're going to get a lot more rabbits than you are elephants. Elephants are really hard to drop. So, you know, just being realistic, we all want to go out there and hunt elephants. We all want to get the big $1,000,000 sales. I love it. I've been doing my CMAs thanks to our mastermind group that we're our accountability group. I've committed to doing 18 CMAs a week. And so I'm targeting within my farm likely to move homeowners. And I don't care if they are a Zestimate of 550 or 1.5 million. I don't care what it is. I'm sending those out just so I can get the listing. But I think that I'll get a higher response rate from the mid-market. So going back to the point I want to make, go in there and look at the stats before you start boosting a bunch of properties. This is a lesson I learned, and within my database, I have a bunch of leads in Auburn. I have a bunch of leads in Antelope. I have Roseville. I got Citrus Heights. I'm just all over the board. But if you're new to this, go in there and focus on your farm.
So did you, Linda had a question. I don't know if you want to take a question at this point regarding.
I'd like to take questions at the end. So we'll do that at the end. So let's get back to it and say, okay, we're going to choose a property. We'll take Chris Blair. Actually, we'll take this one on Knox. And we're going to go in and this is the property. Do I have matching buyers for it? Yes, I have 9. So if when you come up with these, you can go in there and you can mass email them all. And now you could send all 9 a message at the same time. You don't have to individually message them. And it links to the listing and all those. It's very integrative. So let's go ahead and say we're going to boost this property. And we are going to, we're going to choose the listing. It pre-formats for you. So these are Facebook ads that you're running. You don't have to format the ad. You don't have to pick the demographics. All you really need to do is put your credit card in. And so this is what the ad looks like. You go next. It's a listing. So if you're going to do an open house, you know, anyone that has an open house coming up and you want to do a boost for it, if it's going to be an open house on the weekend, I would probably boost it in the beginning of the week. That way you gain traction on it. But you can do open house and price reduction. We're just going to stick with listing. We're going to brand. We could do puts my branding in here. And then I can go next. And then you could choose how much you want to spend, basically. How much do you want to spend on the boost? So I'm not going to boost this. This is as far as I'm going to take it. But once you get into payment, you can go into configuration and then complete the purchase of it, and then it runs. So if you're going to go and boost and you want my help to go into the configuration, just call me. I'll do it on a one-on-one basis. It literally will take us less than 10 minutes of conversation. They make it really, really simple. But that's the property boost. And when you go in and do this, let's go and take a look at matching buyers again. I'm already in it.
Well, while you do that, Alex, could you expand upon the benefits of being focused in one digital area when you are boosting versus I'll do it in Elk Grove, I'll do it in El Dorado Hills, I'll do it in Roseville. Why? What's the logic behind doing it in one demographic?
Yeah, so it's a great question, and it's really the main point of this topic today, this discussion. It comes down to digital domination of your farm. Seems like a pretty heavy concept, but really it's something that we came up with as we've worked through the platform over the last several years. And taking all of the different resources from this platform and taking those resources and focusing them on one farm area. And so if you aren't focusing on a digital farm, you need to reach out to me and we can put that farm together. Whatever it is, if you want to focus on, like Steve and I are talking about the over 55 communities. So what are Steve and I doing? We're focused on over 55. In this area, we have Sun City Lincoln, Sun City Roseville, and a couple other communities out there. And we're taking and looking at those, and we are doing our CMAs in those markets. We're doing our property boosts, open houses when we have that opportunity. And as we concentrate our activity in that market, you're going to gain greater traction. And it absolutely works, you guys.
So truly, we have old school geographic farming updated with digital farming, which is really what we're doing. It's still a geographic farm.
Yeah.
And geographic farms have been done with printing. They've been done with door knocking. All these things have been done for decades. And so what we've really done is now we've just brought it into an era where, because everybody's using social media, it's now a digital farm, even though we're still targeting a geographic location.
That's right. That's right. And so as you focus more of your activity on that farm, you have to think in a broader terms and go back to what we've covered in the previous weeks. And you look at, let me get back to the classroom. You look at the landing pages. Well, I've created a landing page for over 55 communities, and that landing page is specific to the content that would be relevant to somebody who is wanting to downsize. And so I do this through the landing pages, squeeze pages. The other day, I got an inbound call from a Facebook post I had, and they were asking about a property. They wouldn't give me their name. All I have was their phone number. And so what I did was I turned around and I created a squeeze page based on the conversation I had, and I texted to them. I said, hey, we just had this conversation about over 55 properties. Here's a squeeze page, and it has all of the active listings that are in that category. Sent it over to them. They were able to look at 5 listings before they had to register, because that's the way we do it. I showed you that in that session. That client is now active in my KV Core. They registered. You know, it's again using a tool. And that came through the social media, because I had taken and I had put the property on social media. So you go in here under other actions or more actions, post to social, and it goes through and does the post for you. You know, you go in and say something that has a strong call to action, and you go ahead and post that out. I will do that with this property later today. But again, these are all the tools within the platform that I'm covering. Get back to it. So that we can maximize the impact of what we're doing. For years and years, I was always just very disjointed in what I was doing. It was the next shiny object, next shiny object. The thing that I have started doing now is I've started doing CMAs. Last week, I went to the Tom Ferry event at in downtown Sacramento, and he went over sending out an effective CMA, and he came up with he shared with us a 1-page CMA. I shared it with Rich, and it basically is saying, look, Zillow says your house is worth this. If I could get you 10% more, do you think you'd be interested in selling? And so I have those going out, and I'm not leveraging any aspect of this platform. I'm keeping it very simple. There's no QR codes, there's no links. It's just, hey, call me, text me if you think you're interested in selling. So I'll be interested to see how that goes. But again, John, I'm focused within my digital farm.
Right. Well, KV Core allows you to have a process that logical, practical, it's all right there. And this is why the Bold Academy is so good in the sense that every week there's something new about that and it all ties together.
Yeah, and so if you have a new agent that is joining your team and they want to get up and running, this 12-week series is going to be the basics for how to use the platform. And that's one reason why we're doing it.
Well, even more importantly, it's the basics for getting their first lead. I mean, first they're gonna go to family and friends and maybe do a transaction that way.
Mhm.
But everybody, and especially new agents, what do I do now? And so this is one of those steps.
Yeah, yeah. And again, it's about building relationships. And so as you get the leads coming in through your property boost, you have to think of it in broader scale of building that relationship, reaching out to them, calling them, texting them, and really showing what your value is as an agent. And I think that that's more relevant in today's market than it ever has been because of the third party lead generators out there like Zillow, like Redfin, Realtor.com. They've really, rebranded us. And so coming back to it, what is that value that we can really give to the leads as they're coming in? So you have to think about your relationship building in that context. Steve, did you have something for us?
Yeah, I wondered if we could expand upon the different costs of boosts and the purpose of a short-term boost versus all the way up to the $250 cost. Where in just a quick understanding of those costs, the 250, if you could just expand, might be best suited if it's your listing, you're brand new on the market. That would be the use of that marketing versus the 3-day or the 7-day, 3-week.
Yeah,
Good point.
what I find is for new agents just getting into it, they want to dip their toe in it and see how it works. And they'll go into the 7-day boost. And then as it gains traction, they'll go into the longer boosts. I think in today's market where we have marketing times, I think the average marketing time our region is 55 days. That 4-week boost may be a better option.
I would reflect right in the middle between what you both just said. What Steve is saying about the expense for your own listing makes sense to me. You want that listing being promoted over and over and over. If you're building your farm and you're targeting an area to build your farm, what you want is fresh property still that potential buyers are going to see. And I think about what you've done with the one that came into you off of a squeeze page,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They're in a market that you know where they're targeting. So if you're boosting various properties, not only are they seeing various properties that might lead them back to you, but they're seeing your name every time you do it. So the more frequent boosting to me in that regard seems more powerful for your farm.
Yeah. So to that point, a year ago when I was really focused on property boost and really building that database within my farm, I was doing the $65 boost. And I was doing it for 7 days. And what I was looking for is the fresh listing that just hit the market.
Right.
That's what I was focused on. Now, something really important to cover is when we have access to every single property in the MLS that we can boost. There's a gray area out there. If it's not your listing, you can still boost that property. But you should put a call out to that agent who has the listing just out of courtesy and say, hey, I'd like to market this property. Would you mind if I did this? Now, if it's an EXP agent that has that listing, it's already within our brokerage. So you don't need to have that permission. It's already within our brokerage. There's some mixed messaging around this, depending on who you talk to. Some people are saying it doesn't matter. You don't have to have permission. I know that there was a recent incident where someone had boosted a property, it wasn't within EXP. The listing agent found out about it and called them out. If you look at your MLS marketing agreement, I believe it does say that if it's in MLS, you're free to market it. Steve, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I believe it's true, but it's always good behavior to call, send a text, get a response back. no agent that I've ever interacted with says, don't market my property for my seller. So you're gonna get a yes all the time, but the no is when you don't ask for permission, gets a little friction.
And,
So-
and the other thing is that if you're reaching out to that non-EXP agent, making that phone call, it's an opportunity to begin to start a discussion with them. And we do have that rev share component that we're all aware of. And it could be an opportunity to recruit by saying, hey, we're doing this property boost, it's through the platform. Oh, well, what is that? You start having that conversation. And then, there's an opportunity to recruit an agent.
Even if that doesn't happen, it still makes it better if you bring the buyer. The listing agent already knows you, likes you.
Yeah.
Goodwill.
Yeah, it's goodwill. So that's what I have for you today on Property Boost. Again, I'll get this recording up onto the school platform under week 6. If you're out there just getting started with KV Core, I do one-on-ones where I come in and I have been setting up agents on the platform. And what I'm finding is that there's a couple of key add-ons that you need to have. One of them being the vanity domain, the other one being the smart number. You really have to have those if you're going to use this platform, because there's email issues and that sort of thing. So I go in and I help you set that up. And then we get your database in there. We also work on your website, make sure all your social media is set up. When it comes to social media, Steve has really worked on that so that all of your social media is consistent. You want to have the same headshot, the same about me. Make sure your content is consistent. So I go in and make sure that that's done. And then the links are into your KV Core. That way you have an active website that's branded under you. And as you go out and post and do all these things that we need to do as agents that we love to do. I know everyone loves to do their Instagrams, their YouTube channels. Jacqueline started her YouTube channel. The Google business page, all these things. If you're going to be an agent, I feel in this era right now, you have to have that digital presence out there. So I'm doing those one-on-ones. In addition, I have a 21-day challenge that for new agents or existing agents who are in the platform, 21 days where you sit with me on a Zoom call. It's 6 people max, and we sit there and we work the database every day for 21 days, turning on the automations, making sure that you know how to use the platform. Because again, after working with agents for 3 years, there's a lot of apprehension using the KV Core platform, Bold Trail, because there's so many buttons. There's so many things to remember. I don't know about that. I forgot about that. But there's been a number of people that have sat with me, and at the end of 21 days, you've established that habit. So that's what I have available in terms of services for you guys. And
Alex, what are the details on the 20-day challenge?
so the details on the 21-day challenge, like I said, maximum of 6 people. Before you join the challenge, you make sure that you're logged in, you have the vanity domain, you have the smart number, you have your database loaded in. Make sure you have all of that done so that when you start the 21-day challenge, you're ready to go to work.
It's worth pointing out that you can also get help getting your database uploaded. This administration staff will actually do this for you. So
Yeah.
And that's just a benefit of the platform.
Yeah. Yeah, the uploading of the database is actually pretty easy. at the end
It's
of the day.
easy, but they will actually help you if you need it.
Yeah.
What I mean is it a cost of it?
So it starts when I get 6 people, and the cost is $1,200. So yeah,
What about the cost of doing the initial consult to set everything up?
it's $400 to set everything up. So, all right, that's what I have for you guys today. I'm going to stop the recording, and then I'll restart it to take questions.